This paper is written by Earl Henderson, University of Florida. We can go to page 309. There's a section titled The Origins of Hip Hop. We're going to read, rap music has had a profound impact on the African American community in the United States. Its greatest significance, to my mind, derives from the fact that it has fostered a profound nationalism in the youth of Black America. Arguably, hip hop has become a conduit for African American culture to a greater extent than even jazz, where the latter could do its polyrhythmic synco. Let me get this pronunciation. Let's see if we can get this here. Get that correct pronunciation, because y'all know I get a Baltimore Ebonic AAV pronunciation. All right, let's get a correct the standard English pronunciation. Syncopation. All right. Just to correct myself here, polyrhythmic syncopations embrace both the nuances and jagged edges of the collective Black experience. It could not self-consciously energize the nationalist ethos in quite the way the more lyrically focused hip-hop does. To present these jagged edges, jazz or bebop needed the uncompromising lyric of the poet. Also, poets with their jagged edges intact still required the talking drum of instrumentation to fully capture the Black ethos of struggle, resistance, righteousness, exploitation, and creativity in Black America. Hip hop fused the two, poetry and jazz, in such a way as to render itself the most conductive source of the current of African American culture. So this peer-reviewed data is relating the origins of hip hop to African American culture. It shows the energization of hip hop, which came from Black struggle, Black resistance, Black righteousness, Black exploitation, and creativity. So as a historian or academic who's going for my bachelor's of science in history next, now we see causation. We see what energized this creation, right? What energized it. Hip hop doesn't belong to anyone else except for Black people, specifically. And it is linked directly to our struggle here in America. Now let's read this paragraph. Hip hop or rap music began in the early 1970s. The first synthesis of self-conscious poetry and music can be traced most directly to the Black nationalist Last Poets. Their albums, The Last Poets, Chastisement, This Is Madness, and others, has become classics in the African American community. When one member who separated from the group with the stage name Lightning Rod used a musical score provided by Kool and the Gang as a backdrop to his lyrical narrative of a day in the life of two hustlers, he had no idea he was laying the basis for an entirely new musical genre. This album, Hustlers Convention, was a mainstay in an album collection of a South Bronx DJ named Kool Herc. Almost to a person, it is agreed that hip hop began with Kool Herc. So mainly, this pay-per-view data is important for it gives nationalistic black struggle causation for early hip hop. And as I'm saying as a historian, that we can actually use historical methodology, chronology to chronologize hip hop as a genre itself, even to proto rap. So there is a proto rap that began with Negro spirituals, and then there's a modern black rap that began with Kool Herc and the first rapper, Coke LaRock, or the first modern hip hop rapper officially, Coke LaRock. But let's look at some of this chronology, some of the histories of hip hop. First, we're going to talk about the method I use. The method I use as an academic is, of course, one of the strongest evidences for a historian to use, which are of various types. Primary materials. What is primary material? Primary sources are powerful and important tools for understanding history and society. They provide direct, unfiltered evidence of past events, offering authenticity, historical accuracy, credibility to research, and learning. These materials unlock diverse and historically marginalized perspectives, allowing students and researchers to examine history beyond mainstream narratives. So, as we see in the peer-reviewed documentation, I have a secondary source, which is a peer-reviewed document, and then I evaluate here primary sources. So I have two different types of sources. I looked into what I just read, the peer-reviewed data, and it mentions that hip-hop or rap began in the 70s, which actually I agree to a point. But now, as we evaluate primary materials, let's look into some of the historical evidence as we get into primary sources like interviews. I use interviews as a primary source. The University of Nevada states using an interview can be an effective primary source for some papers and research projects. Finding an expert in the field or some other person who has knowledge of your topic can allow for you to gather unique information not available elsewhere. All right, so I use interviews. We'll begin with the almighty DJ Kool Herc. And in his interview with DJ History Archives, the summary of that documented interview addresses processes of what historians will call acculturation. So I'll read. Kool Herc's own words reveal, which we know that Kool Herc is, of course, considered the father of modern hip hop. And it says Kool Herc's own words reveal that he was adapting to and learning from the existing Black American culture in New York rather than creating something entirely new. So one thing I do want to point out that I didn't notate is the fact of geographical location. The setting of hip hop was in Black urban communities. DJ Kool Herc then would come and become acculturated within Black American culture. As we look into the primary material, the interview, I summarize that he attended parties to observe local dance styles. So Kool Herc himself would observed the already established dance styles, as he mentioned, that was already in existence. So these elements of hip hop indeed was even before Kool Herc. As it states from his own words, they were parties you used to go to, yeah, to see how the kids dance and how they talk. To a historian, this sentence is important. It's dynamic. It's dynamic on two aspects: culture. Culture, but let's break it down: cultural dance and cultural language. Kool Herc, a Jamaican, a African Jamaican, would acculturate within Black African community. He states out his own mouth that he's seen kids dance in a cultural dance. He's seen it with his own eyes, right? He learned from it, and he analyzed how Black Americans talked. So he studied the language variety that we had that was cool amongst Black people in America. That is one of the processes of acculturation. He learned from existing DJs in clubs. That is another process of acculturation. Let's look at what he said out his own mouth. The guys used to play at the tunnel. I'm dancing with this girl trying to get my blink off, and they used to F up. See that? So he's already dancing to DJs that already exist, in clubs that already exist, with sound systems that already exist. So this is out of Kool Herc's own mouth. He is observing the already alive Black American culture that is already in existence, in which he acculturated in. And also he contributed because he innovated the breakbeat. But let's continue. It says he adapted his style to meet local preferences. Out his own mouth, he states, I would give people what I knew. I would give people what I knew they wanted to hear. So at this time, people wanted to hear a certain genre, a certain style, right? This is his own words, the father of modern hip hop. I would give people what they knew they wanted to hear. So elements like James Brown, other elements that was already here, he would invent a new style out of Black American cultural musical elements, and not only give people what they wanted to hear, he mastered and analyzed their style. He says, I give it to them. I was getting more music that sounded similar to what they liked and introducing them to new music, right? So this is all a Black invention, even if it's coming from our African Jamaicans brothers. They are our brothers. They are from the same places, and they were also involved in a triangular slave trade where some you will have Black Americans and some you will have Black Jamaicans, sometimes even mixed on certain plantations. All right, let's continue. Origins of the term hip hop. Okay. The term hip hop itself began by Black American. Hip hop as a term as we define it and use it today is defined by Black American. So I go to Britannica. Britannica states, there are various explanations for the source of the term hip hop. However, the most popular one involves Keith Wiggins, a member of the rap group Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. The rapper used the words hip hop, imitating the sound of soldiers marching in reference to a friend who had joined the army. According to some accounts, Kevin Lovebug Starsky Smith was with Wiggins and helped create the phrase. Hip hop was subsequently popularized in songs, notably in the Sugar Hill Gang's Rapper's Delight. These, again, are Black American struggle issues where he is putting it, his friend went to the army. Not only did his friend go to the army, he is mimicking the sound of the army in reference to his friend. And this is actually how the term, because during these times, people, we were being inducted in wars in which we did not want to fight. And most times, just like Muhammad Ali, they would get majority Black people, put them on the front lines. And that also had racial disparities in recruitment in the army. So everything down to even the definition, the creation of the term hip hop itself. The name hip hop itself is developed by the struggles, the energization of Black struggle by Black Americans. This is well documented information. The first modern MC, rapper in hip hop. The first modern MC is dynamic in a way, because I use the term modern because, of course, we know that this is not the oldest rap. Rap was not invented, as everyone should know, in New York, right? But this was the first MC, which even the term MC was created from Blacks in America. And also, he is considered the first modern MC, and his name is Kool, aka Coco LaRock, born April 24th, 1955. Wikipedia states, is an American rapper from New York City who is sometimes credited as being the first MC in the history of hip hop. So when hip hop began to form, which hip hop is basically a combination of the four elements of hip hop, this is the hip hop eras, the modern hip hop era first MC, Kool LaRock. Isn't that wonderful? A Black American. Proto rap. When I mean proto rap, we're talking about what was the oldest recorded rap? What was the oldest rap ever? Right? It is in 1935 we find Negro spirituals as proto rap, the first ever recorded rap. So WikiOne states, which is a okay source, but we're going to look at primary materials to find out, is this really rap? So WikiOne states the Jubilaires were an American gospel group active between 1935 and 1950, previously known as the Royal Harmony Singers in 1936. The band was known for song verses delivered in a rhythmic rhyming style that has been described as an early version of rapping. Their 1946 song, Noah, is often named as the first recorded instance of rap. Y'all want to hear this rap? Where my rappers at? Because this is, an okay source. But as historians, we must also evaluate primary materials. We want to see, as me being a rapper, I can rap a little something and grew up off of rap. I know what rap sound like. And I want to hear this proto rap because this can be historic. This is also dynamic, incredible data where we're looking into if they are rapping at 1935 to 1946, where did they get it from? That will be my question as a historian, as a researcher. Where would they get it from if rap goes back to Florida? Where would, in Negro spirituals being proto rap, all stemming back to Black American struggle? And this is indeed Black American struggle, where we are singing Negro spirituals, right? Negro spirituals. The deep Black struggle of Negro spirituals, of being vehicles of escaping slave plantations. We use Negro spirituals to relay information when the Negro Act in 1740 was here, where we were prohibited to practice any type of music because of the Sono insurrection. So in 1740, a Negro Act beginning legislated by law 39 to 1739 to 1740, we will begin to find laws, because fear of insurrection, right? Where we cannot practice our music, we couldn't practice the talking drum. So what we have done was create sounds using our bodies. Sounds using our bodies, hitting our bodies, creating beats. We made boom bap, and we started making beats with our mouth, singing underground. Music officially began to go underground. So this is how hip hop have its roots and beginnings in Black struggle, Black culture. So the first ever rap where everybody want to emulate the rapper, right? Don't everyone want to rhyme? Chinese want to rhyme. They like to rap. They want to rap. Latinas or Latino, they want to rap. They love rapping, right? MCing, rapping. From proto rap, which is developed from Negro spirituals. Think about that. Proto rap was developed from one of the most sacred Black American music that Black American culture has in this hemisphere. Negro spirituals were used to educate Blacks. It was used to do insurrection, because we used to play our spirituals to relay information, to even do insurrection, where they had to establish laws to keep us from using it until they begin to commercialize it, because everybody wanted to hear it. So we have a lot of different elements going on. Now, in proto rap era, Negro spiritual is the beginnings of rap. There is no disrespect to my brothers and sisters. Nowhere else. Nowhere else. No disrespect nowhere else. But when it comes to the first ever recorded rap in primary sources, we gotta say here, 1935. And let's hear them. I hope I don't get let me share a fair use problem. See if I got a Negro spirituals are the origins of rap. Let's hear this.
But it's over and over. Oh, oh no, oh no, I'm gonna ride on the women's side, but it's over and over. Oh, oh no, Brother Noah, my God's talking. Said he would ride on the wind and tide. Hey, children, stop, steal, and listen to me. God walked down to the branch.
Whoa!
That the evil descent from.
Y'all hear that? The brother got a gold teeth in 1930. This was recorded in 1946. He looked like a Baltimore dude with one crown. Because in Baltimore, you may see a dude with one gold crown in the front of his mouth. And yo spitting fire. He sound better than rappers today. Let me take this back. Yo came in spitting bars. The oldest rap.
Stop, steal, and listen to me. God walked down to the brandy sea. He declared that the evil descent from man, and then he decided to destroy the land. He spoke to Noah. Noah stopped. He said, Noah, I want you to build me an ark. I want you to build it 3 cubits long. I want you to build it big and strong. I want it 50 high and 50 wide, so it will stand the wind and tide. It's oh, Noah, oh, Noah. Oh, Noah, I got to go to ride on the wind and tide. But it's a oh, Noah, oh, Noah, oh, Noah, I got to go to ride on the wind and tide. I got to go to ride on the wind and tide. Oh, Noah, brother Noah, my God's talking. Said he would ride on the wind and tide. Well, after the foundation was laid, then Noah began to hew and build. The ringing of the hammer cried judgment, the hewing of the saw cried sin repent. 100 years he hammered and sawed, building the ark by the grace of God. When the ark was done, God's voice was heard. He said, now Noah, let me tell you what to do. Call in the animals 2 by 2. So he called in the ark 2 by 2. He called the birds, the ox with the kangaroo. And he called in jump back.
He's spitting. I may do a research where, you know, even the fashion of the song is more than just the rapping with me. You know, I'm thinking other things now. I'm thinking, okay, they were rapping in 1935 to 1946. Now, a research question I had as an academic is where they learned it from. They learned that from somewhere, either traditionally passed down through Negro spirituals, or from somewhere. It has to be some type of starting point. So for future references, for those who are in college, for those who love music, this will be a good research effort for us to start investigating the proto-rapper. I'm going to coin it the proto-rapper. We need to find the missing links. That way we can explore even more. But as I look at it, I see Negro spirituals as being the origins of rap, which connects us, our lineage, to blacks in America.